I definitely think the Section 230 question is a little bit tricky, right? Because, if we just get rid of it outright, it will have a huge impact on all the different platforms. But at the same time, it's very clear that there's a spectrum of responsibility, right, that the platforms should take for when content gets distribution and gets a lot of views or not, right? So, it's a little bit different. Like if I post to something on my Instagram and the only time anyone sees it is when they type in my name and they go to my, profile page and then they see that, picture there. Instagram hosted the picture, but they didn't really play much else, much additional role in that being distributed. Whereas when you look at Instagram Reels or TikTok, TikTok, right, where the algorithm itself has a huge impact on how many views that the videos get. Clearly, the platform bears a whole lot of responsibility for those views being accrued and building up on those videos. But yeah, so to Jeff's point, right, getting rid of Section 230 is not the only option necessarily here. And at the Integrity Institute, where I currently am, actually, last year we did a survey of our members, and we actually asked our members of all these different policies that we see around the world, tell us which ones you think will have actual positive impact and empowering the teams that are trying to build the platforms more responsibly on the inside. Which of these policies will help people who are fighting the good fight on the inside, and which of these policies will not help people who are fighting the good fight on the inside. And at the top of that list were transparency reports and transparency data sets, risk assessments, and audits, which are all basically just increased transparency into the scale of harms that are occurring on the platforms, the cause of the harms, and a little bit of the nature of the harms on the platform, right? And if we had more accountability and more transparency about how much harms and to what extent the platforms are playing a role in those harms, if that was always public, that would have a big impact on how the platforms are making decisions. And in Europe, there is the Digital Services Act, which passed last year, which is sort of their big new omnibus regulation of internet platforms. And a lot of the work that the Integrity Institute has been doing is on a very particular clause that is only 3 sentences long, and it's kind of very large platforms shall do risk assessments. And that's what it says. And it doesn't say at all what a risk assessment should look like. So that is still something that is being determined right now in the EU and the European Commission is what should a risk assessment look like and what kind of data should go into a risk assessment. And I think one concrete thing that I can say coming out of Jeff's work, one very obvious piece of impact that just instantly had, I actually remember in the spring of 2021, Instagram announced that they were working on Instagram Kids. And I'd left Instagram at the very tail end of 2019. So I had been outside of the company for about a year. But when I saw that announcement, I was like, oh, this is insane. There's unless there's been a revolution inside of the company in the past year, there is absolutely no way that Instagram is ready for Instagram Kids. This is true madness. And then you fast forward, 5 months, and the Facebook files start coming out, and it's yeah, Instagram knows that teens are having a very bad time on Instagram. And then you fast forward 1 month later, and Adam Mosseri is testifying before Congress about how Instagram Kids is being put on ice, or announcing that Instagram Kids is being put on ice.